Hello and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia, Makina's route. In the last episode, Yuuji and Makina decided that it would be best to run away from the school, as their presence there would potentially put the other students in danger, something that neither of them wished to happen. There also was the information of why JB brought the information of why Makina was suddenly the victim of assassination attempts rather than just harassment. Makina, with her picture memory, had seen the corruption documents that her father was murdered for and threatened to make them public if the Irisu clan continued to harass them, which is why the assassination came to pass. Yuuji and Makina then found a cheap hotel where they could be in peace. And with the help from Sakaki Yumiko, they got erased all evidence of them being at the school, so that no backfall would come to the harm of the other students. We now are located in Ichigaya, the headquarters. Oh, this is a mess. A real mess, Qa'Rajh. To think your pet dog would bite the hand that fed it. I sincerely apologize. I'd like to think my support played its part in getting a U branch like yourself where you are today, and I think it's fair to say I've been rather accommodating as your superior, but perhaps my eye for talent isn't what it used to be. By no means, sir. But look here, the fact of the matter is, our little number 9029 ran away, yes? I mean, yes, I know 9029 is a special number, and considering the personal history involved, I did think it best to entrust him to you. After all, you were the one and only person able to control the habitually unsubordinate Kusakabe Asako. But what do we get this time? A complete fiasco. It wouldn't be so bad if he'd just torn off his collar and made a break for it. After all, the man's name isn't even on our books. Easy enough to have him quietly put down. But when our agent runs away with our target in tow, that's a completely different story. That isn't just a matter of insubordination anymore, it's outright treason, you know. How do you intend to take responsibility? I sincerely apologize. Qa'Rajh, my dear, I'm not saying this because I want to hear your apologies. Excuse me, what's ha supposed to mean? Unbelievable. Here I am, finally working for a ministry rather than an agency, and before I can even savor having a signboard outside the office, we're head first in this utter debacle. Look, my friend, given even at the best of times, no one's exactly eager to work with us foreign capital types. Don't make my position any worse than it already is. Do you have any idea how it felt to finally get that red carpet office after all those weekends spent working instead of playing with my children? Well, I don't think I could care less. Did you say something? No, perhaps your ears are playing tricks on you. Or your persecution, perhaps, or your persecution complex. In any case, prepare a list of places 9029 might visit immediately. But as I explained previously, if number 9029 is attempting to hide, he'll almost certainly be avoiding any place he's ever set foot in before. I've already submitted a general list excluding all the areas where he lived previously or visited in the course of duty. Also, this is conjecture based largely on instinct, but I believe there's a good possibility 9029 has gone to ground in Tokyo itself. In fact, somewhere fairly close to this place. Your intuition is a pet owner, is it? For what it's worth, we do have investigators equipped and on alert, just as you requested, but I think you'll agree somewhere within Tokyo is a bit on the vague side. Urgent report from Clover 12, 9029 discovered, currently in pursuit. Where? Minato Ward, Shinbashi 2 Comb, moving from Karasumori Shrine near area towards Shiodome on foot. Wearing a black suit and a blue necktie, no visible luggage on hand, they're requesting instructions. What about the mark? Is Irisu Makina with him? Negative, he appears to be alone. Alright, take him. No, absolutely not. Please allow us to continue tailing. Rather than hastily provoking him, and call in support from Shinjuku and Shibuya, determining the location of his hideout has to be first priority. Wouldn't the taking the man into custody put an end to this immediately? We're talking about 1929 here, remember? Do you even understand your current position? I may be requesting your opinions as an observer, but you don't have authority to determine our tactics right now. Well then, please issue the instructions under your own authority, but let the record show that I strongly advise a stay order. Very well then. Falcon, maintain the status quo for now. Affirmative. Clover 12, this is Queen. Do not contact. Maintenance of the status quo. Repeat, do not contact. Maintenance of the status quo. I'll be heading to the central control room now. Are you coming as well? No, I imagine my presence will only be a distraction at the moment. I'll stand by here. Depending on the circumstances, you may be taken into custody as well. Prepare yourself for the possibility. Yes. Oh, so tired. Perhaps it's time for a break, Chief. Would you care for some coffee? Yeah, sounds good. Decaf? No, extremely caffeinated, please. I don't think I can keep this up much longer without a stiff drink of one sort or the other. The director does lay it on rather thick, doesn't he? They say his personality was just as nasty even back when he was Deputy Secretary Ishiba's yes-man at the Cabinet Office. Let's not gripe too much, please. Whatever else you can say about the man, he's still a key figure, somehow or other. Huh? What's wrong? What? No, wait, why? Report, what happened? Clover 12, signal lost. What on earth? They didn't head underground, did they? No, their last location was the central plaza by the eastern exit and... What is it this time? The cards who were moving to support, Heart 9, Spade 6, Diamond Ace, signals lost. What's going on? I don't know any more than you do, but if the signals are lost, either the transmitters are malfunctioning or they've been killed. What are our remaining cards? Only Heart Jack, a newcomer who's only been with us 2 months. Heart. In other words, it's a female agent, yes? Is she young? Yes, she's only 24. Does that girl have large breasts? Excuse me? I'm asking you if she has an above average bust size. Please wait a moment, let's see here. Height 172, bust 88. What about it? 1929 is soft on the big breasted. Alright then, order the girl to pull out immediately. What? But if we just give an order like that, the director's going to... Tell Central that we'll be wiped out of this raid. While you're at it, get an incident processing team to the site now. I'll take responsibility. Now hurry. Yes. Yuuji. What on earth are you thinking? Yeah, my stomach's bursting. I can't eat no more. Papa? Papa, where'd you go? Don't leave me alone. I'm right here, Makina. Jeez, you had me worried, you know. Don't just wander off like that. Where'd you go, anyway? Just cleaning up the neighborhood a little. Cleaning? Noticed a few rats skulking around. One of them got away, but I took care of the rest. You don't have anything to worry about. Oh, okay. Look, it's still 3:30 in the morning. You can sleep a little longer. Yeah. That's right. Nothing to worry about. Just leave everything to me. For the time being, I've chased off the suits. The next ones they will send will probably be Special Forces or SAT, I guess. Well, whatever. Hardly matters. Whoever comes, I'll just take them out one by one. Ah, shit. My head's killing me. God damn it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Why did it turn out like this? Well, why, Harodera-kun? Because the status quo order was resigned. I believe I explained that we're dealing with number 9029 here. You're always harping on about that name, but he's nothing more than the second generation, yes? Does his number really warrant all this squawking? Respectfully, didn't you just personally witness the result of that careless attitude? Ugh. Were there any fatalities among the agents who were attacked? No, some were badly wounded, but none to a life-threatening extent. Which would mean the seal's still intact. The seal! Number 9029, Kasami Yuuji, carries a seal only Kusakabe Asako was capable of releasing. By nature, the man known as Kasami Yuuji was cowardly and timid at heart, but no means of the sort of individual given to murder. And due to certain personal experiences in his childhood, he bears a powerful trauma regarding the taking of human lives. The terror of the act of murder inspires in him is powerful enough to shatter his psyche. I read as much in the documents, but there aren't many children who enjoy killing others. Isn't that normal enough? Did you actually read the documents? I looked over his departmental evaluation. I'm afraid this isn't simple enough to understand merely by glancing at his report card. It's sufficient for my purposes. At the age of 12, Kasami Yuuji killed his own father, resulting in psychological trauma. That's what you're referring to, yes? He simply believes that to be the case. He didn't actually kill the man. But his father did end up dead. Hardly a significant distinction. Look, what are you trying to say here? Explain concisely. I'm a rather busy man. I don't have the time to pore through these documents, and I'm not idle enough to sit patiently through one of your lectures. His father's murder and his mother's suicide. Kasami Yuuji believes these two deaths to be entirely his fault. And as a child, he was unable to endure the weight of his own guilty conscience. In order to ease that torment, Kusakabe Asako implanted a suggestion in his mind. Words to the effect of, "There's nothing evil about fighting to protect the weak. You're doing the right thing." And as a result, Kasami Yuuji became capable of justifying murder to himself. Eh? No, not exactly. The murder of his parents and the death of all the terrorists he has assassinated. The boy believes that these were the work of a devil that possessed his right arm against his will. I don't follow. Where did you get that idea? It was most likely the result of a desperate, unbalanced child taking refuge in the easiest answer. It wasn't my fault. I see. If that's how it is, I suppose I can understand. Figures. Excuse you? Would you mind clarifying that statement? I meant nothing by it. So to sum it up, Kasami Yuuji became able to engage in an assassination mission by offloading the responsibilities for his action onto some malicious spirit. And Kusakabe Asako was the person who managed to hypnotically place that belief into his mind. It's the opposite. By making everything the fault of his devil, Kasami Yuuji was quite capable of murdering people left and right. Kusakabe Asako's suggestion repressed and controlled that tendency. Lord, this is giving me a headache. In any case, since Kusakabe Asako is no longer around to give Kasami Yuuji permission to kill, isn't this a non-issue? As a matter of fact, we haven't suffered any fatalities yet. No, you're looking at the matter backward. Asako is no longer here to reinforce the suggestion that kept him from killing people. We have no way of predicting when that seal will give way. Can this suggestion, or what have you, really be broken so easily as that? I don't know. But one thing I can say is, the seal is most likely an auto-suggestion Kasami Yuuji internalized, with Asako's commands acting as keywords. But if he comes to view as someone else as equal to or exceeding Asako in importance, I believe there's a high possibility that auto-suggestion will no longer effectively bind him. If the auto-suggestion fails, what will happen to Kasami Yuuji? He'll most likely proceed to methodically eliminate everything and everyone he perceives as harmful to the thing he's chosen to protect. When Kusakabe Asako was still with us, it was possible to control the boy as a tool, but, well, that's no longer a possibility. A tool? What do you mean by that exactly? To rephrase, an extremely lethal piece of national defense equipment. However, yes, at the moment you might compare him to something like a grenade. Any grenade has its safety pin to prevent accidental discharge. So long as that one cheap sliver piece of metal is in place, you can walk around freely with the thing dangling from your hip. A soldier pulls out that pin and hurls a grenade in controlled arc toward the enemy line. But the only soldier capable of taking out Kasami Yuuji's pin was Kusakabe Asako. The rest of us have been fiddling around ineptly with someone else's tool, and right now that pin is about ready to fall out all on its own. A grenade with no pin and no objective is simply a bomb, indiscriminately rendering all those around it to charred meat. Now that Qa'Rajh is gone, if that pin's removed, he'll most likely go on a rampage. A man confident in the art of murder, unhesitant to exercise it, and completely untroubled by conscience or compassion. If it progresses to that point, no one will be able to stop him. Let's not be melodramatic here. Any human being stops when they're dead. It's always regrettable to throw away broken parts, but I think we'll have him killed in action. I assume you have no objections. The decision is yours to make. Honestly, you let on one hell of a troublesome mad dog loose. I'll be returning to Central, but if there's anything you've forgotten, feel free to contact me at any time. Yes. Oh, good lord, does he really have to run over to whine at me if every time something happens? This is turning into a real mess, isn't it? Excuse me, you were eavesdropping instead of working? No, I assure you I was being very productive. I've mostly finished reading the documents you've submitted concerning Kasami Yuuji. Quite the astonishing pass, to say nothing of his professional resume. You think? It's nothing that special around here, surely. We got dogs with tragic stories lying all over the place, you know. What do you think headquarters intend to do next? Who knows, but, well, there's probably a limit to what CSS and NSA investigators can do here. Right about now, perhaps the director's negotiating with the head office big shots to see how many special forces group units they can dispatch for us. If they send in the local elite, I suppose that'll be an end to it even for 1929. Yes, I imagine the odds of him getting out of this alive are essentially zero. But remember this, that dog was raised by the Kusakabe Asako. Once he's barred his fangs against his opponent, you can blow off his limbs and he'll still crawl like a worm toward your throat. Even if you chop off his head, he's prepared to glare you to death. We spent $60,000 a year training him since he was a pup, you know. We made an enemy of one of the most dangerous dogs you'll ever find. We can't allow ourselves to forget that. But, even if you wipe out the enemies who come for you, they're never going to stop coming, Yuuji. When I was a child, there were nights when my head ached so painfully I couldn't sleep. I don't know why. I think a doctor my mother took me to said something about stress being the cause. It began with something that felt like a slight fever. Soon my head would begin to throb painfully in time with the beating of my heart. I didn't think it was stress. I thought I was starving for something. For affection or love, something like that. Some frustrated longing was making it impossible demands on me. One evening I suffered an unusually severe headache on my way home from school and crouched down on the roadside in agony. I looked around the area, my vision hazy and periodically obscured by pure white flashes of pain, but couldn't find anyone who seemed likely to help me. But that was only to be expected. It was natural. Nobody's going to volunteer for the thankless hassle of looking after some sick kid they've never met before. I thought so as much myself, so I'm sure the people passing by felt the same. Dragging my heavy legs forward as if slugging through knee-deep mud, propping myself up against the wall, I curbed my way home all by myself. When I finally reached my house after what felt like hours of miserable effort, my big sister met me at the door. The instant she saw my face, it felt like my sister spoke some concerned words, but apparently my ears weren't working properly. I couldn't understand what she was saying. When I thought about the painful, lonely struggle I'd just endured, her sympathy only grated on my nerves. I snarled bitterly that it was a little late for her to help now. My big sister's face crumbled miserably. I knew I'd done something wrong, something worth apologizing for, but I didn't have the composure to tell her I was sorry. Ignoring my sister as she tried to speak to me again, I moved past her and into her bedroom. I couldn't even muster the willpower to climb up to the top of the bunk bed where I slept. Instead, I opened the closet, collapsed inside it, and slid the door shut with my last strength. I liked cramped spaces. I liked dark places. I felt most at ease holed up in places too small for others to enter. It felt like I was safe there. Like I was cocooned in the cockpit of a powerful robot. There was nothing to be afraid of in there. The pain, so intense that it felt as though my skull was cracking apart, began to ease little by little. I wanted to stay there. I wish I could curl up in that closet forever and never have to leave. Even knowing that was spoiled, painless escapism, I couldn't help but indulge in it. When night came, my sister woke me up. She asked me if I had calmed down, and I realized that I had. I felt almost refreshed, in fact. But at the same time, there was a tickle of awkward self-reproach. That's right. I need to apologize for snapping at her. Just as my thought reached that conclusion, I felt a sharp pain in my right hand. When I looked down, I noticed a wound on my right fist, deep enough to expose bone. I had no memory of injuring myself so badly. As I puzzled over when it could possibly have happened, my sister spoke to me in subdued murmur. It seems your homeroom teacher committed suicide. For a moment, I couldn't process the meaning of those words. Suicide? In other words, the man took his own life. Even as I wondered why, a smug sense of satisfaction welled up inside me. I hated that teacher with a passion. He never complimented me when I succeeded, sneering at the smallest sign of pride. He focused exclusively on my failures, belittling me as a defective human being. He hurt me every single day. The man seemed to have entered the teaching profession just so he could reenact the miseries of his own childhood on his pupils. I silently urged him to die many times. It felt like what he deserved. I looked down at my right fist, covered in congealed blood. Did I kill him? While I was unconscious with this headache, did my body crawl out of this closet all on its own? Did this hand kill my teacher? That anxiety stretched on and on indefinitely. When my head began its brutal aching, somebody would experience misfortune. The pattern repeated itself several times. My head hurts. I want something badly, but as always I can't even tell what it is I'm longing for. That thirst for something never did go away. I want help. Anyone will do. If anyone would reach out a hand to me, I'd probably cling to them and cry like a child. At this rate, it feels like I'm going to go crazy. I want to be alone. I want a cramped place where I can take refuge. I want to curl up in a dark place and sink into death as if falling asleep. It was always my sister who opened the closet door and brought me out of my seclusion. There were times when I wished she wouldn't, when I found her irritating, and my sister died in a traffic accident. I didn't hate my sister, or even dislike her. If anything, it'd be no exaggeration to say she was the reason I was able to keep on living. Even so, my sister died. Why did she die and leave me behind alone? The question did inspire some reproachful feelings. But I still remember the look on her face that day when I answered her kindness with a snarl of irrational anger. In the end, I never did apologize. I could never manage to say the simple words, "I'm sorry for yelling at you." That always weighed on my mind. When I think of my sister, her troubled expression on that afternoon always flashes before my eyes. I can't stand it anymore. I wish everything would just come to an end. But maybe all of this was my fault. I gnawed on my possessed right hand until it bled. And 1 year after that, just as I wished someone deep down inside, the devil in my right hand took everything from me. My father died and my mother as well. I must have been the one who killed them. All of them. I slaughtered them all. I'm the lowest of the low. I was a vile monster in the body of a child, and the person who took me in was an even more terrible creature. Taking the place of my father, who died leaving only debts behind, the man brought me to his mansion to live like a dog. Every day was pain, nothing but pain, bitter, excruciating pain beyond my capacity to endure. To escape that suffering, I would gladly have committed suicide. But I couldn't die. Not when they punched me until the bones in my face shattered. Not when they kicked me until my organs seemed to burst. Not when they covered me in gasoline and set me on fire. I felt pain, I suffered, but no matter what they did to me, I never managed to die. The devil in my right hand must have forbidden it. I'd forfeited the right to live as a human being, but maybe that wasn't all. Maybe I'd lost even the right to die. What was so valuable about my existence preserved at the cost of so much blood and suffering? Why was the devil keeping me alive? I didn't know. Forget the meaning of my life. I couldn't understand the reason I wasn't dead. I reached my limit. The thirst grew so agonizing I was beginning to wonder if it would ever stop swelling inside me. Since things had gone this far, I had no choice but to purge myself of the devil that was the source of my suffering and thirst. I began by smashing my right hand against the concrete wall of my basement room, but the pain was so strong I couldn't help easing off. I tried slicing it off with a knife instead, but whenever I tried to cut the nerve, agony ran through my entire body, so it was difficult to keep pressing the blade down. All I managed to do was cut myself deeply. The bones in my wrist were getting in the way, so I tried to scrape them down with the knife first, but The thick blood that sprouted out made the blade slip and slide around, so I couldn't grind away very well. And every time the blade did catch the bone, the grating movement jarred my skull with sickening vibrations. In the end, I simply fainted from the pain. The adults in the mansion tied me up with the ropes to prevent me from mutilating myself any further, and they whispered in my ear the same words repeated many, many times. Nobody needs you. Nobody wants you. Even your family despised and resented you. No one in the world loves you. No one in the world is on your side. Everyone is your enemy. Hate them all. Anyone your eyes can see is your enemy. They made you suffer. They disgraced your family. They trampled your friends underfoot. That is the nature of your enemy. Kill them all. You have my permission. Slaughter them like cattle. Hate everything, kill everything. That is your only road to salvation. And so I killed. All of them. Everyone. I might have killed my sister. I murdered my own parents. But even after all that killing, I still haven't been saved. Why not? Haven't I killed enough by now? That's right. I haven't killed myself yet. I'm not finished yet. I've got to take my own life. But how? I can't just murder myself. I don't know how it's done. Nobody ever taught me. What do I need to do before I can die? I spent 2 weeks without eating any food. My arms grew as thin as the branches of a dead tree, my front teeth fell out, and my fingernails grew soft and began to warp away from the skin underneath. When I reached up and touched my head, hair came out in clumps, but there was no pain. It seemed that I was simply going to wither away to a mummy. I would sleep in my crypt, waiting for the day when someone would offer me blood. However many years it took, however many decades, however many centuries, until someone who can save me appears, until my sister comes to wake me up. Yuuji. Yes, that was my name. My sister always called me that. Until my sister calls again, I can only wait, in a slumber so deep I'll forget even my own name. I wanted someone to pull me up from this hell as quickly as possible. But I had fallen into hell for a reason. I had done an evil thing. This was only natural. This was my punishment. When I came to, I was in an unfamiliar room. It wasn't my basement prison. There was a window. The pale bluish light of the moon flowed in, and the air felt a little cold against my skin. On nights like this, where the moon hung fat and swollen in the sky, my sister used to moan in an awful tone of voice from the bunk bed below my own. It was always like that on nights when the moon was full. Suffering, sadness, desperation. Her voice spoke of many different emotions too strong for words. It frightened me when my sister moaned. I would wrap myself up in my blanket on the upper bed, covering my ears tightly, but still the voice seemed to pass through my skull and burrow directly into my brain. That overly bright moonlight flowing in from the outside window might well have driven me mad. I stood up from my bed, approached the window, and looked out. A single girl stood beneath a snowstorm of sakura petals, dancing on the wind, her back turned to me. What was she doing out there at this time of night? In the first place, who on earth was she? As those questions drove every other thought from my mind, the girl turned around and smiled brightly. Our eyes met. Overwhelmed by the uncomfortable feeling that I'd been peeping on her somehow, I willed myself to pull back and hide. But for some strange reason I couldn't move my body an inch. It was almost as though the force of her gaze had pinned my moonlight-cast shadow to the ground. As I stood stock still by the window, the girl softly raised her right hand toward me and began to speak. My ears were ringing. The girl's voice couldn't reach me. When I concentrated on the girl's mouth as she repeated herself, I read the softly spoken words from the movement of her lips. Over here, Yuuji. She was calling for me, clearly and simply. And when I focused on her with complete concentration, her voice itself became as clear as a bell, sinking deeply into my mind. Come here, Yuuji. The girl was definitely saying that. As she offered me her outstretched hands, tears began to roll down my face. Can I really take her hand? Is it really all right for the likes of me to take that hand? The instant our fingers intertwined, the devil in my right hand might kill the girl. My body began to tremble uncontrollably. I was afraid. This is a dream I want to wake up right away. When I see dreams like these, my right hand always tries to kill someone. I can't take any more. I don't want to lose anyone else. Papa? Snapped abruptly back to the waking world by a familiar voice against my earlobe, I saw a girl crouched down at my side. That girl, her eyes full of concern, spoke to me. Papa, you're crying again? Oh, hey Makina. I'm fine, it's nothing. It is not nothing. Why are you always crying? No, really, it's no big deal. Men just wake up crying sometimes. Sort of like a wet dream, you know. Don't worry about it. Why are you making such a scary face? Is it something you can't talk to me about? Yeah, that's right. It's got nothing to do with you, so you don't have to worry about it. That's no fair. You're helping me out, aren't you? Can't I help you too, Papa? Makina. If it's hard to talk about, then I won't ask anything. I'm not that smart anyway, so even if you told me, I probably wouldn't be able to comfort you that well. So, well, Amani told me something once, you know. There's nothing like a naked woman to cheer up a man who's hurting. Kind of pathetic how true that is. So, come here, Papa. Those words sent a jolt of surprise through my body. I've only just realized the voice of that girl in the dream, the voice that seemed to sink into the depths of my heart, was Makina's. The girl who waited all this time, all those years, a hand patiently outstretched, offering me to lead me out of hell. Never would have thought she'd turn out to be a stumpy little airhead like this. But here we are. I find myself wrapping my arms around Makina, clinging to her like a child. Sorry, Makina. Never thought I'd sink low enough to make you comfort me. Pretty pathetic, aren't I? This should be safe for you too, because it's... Nothing to worry about. It's more than enough of a reason for a man to make love to a woman, you know. Come here, Papa. Give me a kiss. I obediently bring myself closer, feeling the quiet touch of her breath against my face. A feminine sigh, its warm, soft sensation, like a slow summer breeze too gentle even to ruffle your hair. Dawn has just begun to break outside. The morning light that flows softly into the room faintly illuminates her pink lips. Catching a brief glimpse of her small tongue in between those slightly parted lips, I push my mouth to hers as if reeled in by a jerk of her robe. Ah, it's the smell of a woman. A surge of vague nostalgia runs through me. But this fragrance is unlike that of any other woman. It makes me feel like my brain's been soaked in hot water, warmed down to its very core. It makes me feel like I'm safe. As I bury my face in Makina's almost alarmingly slender chest, the scent grows stronger and stronger. And in the next moment, she's wrapped her arms around my head in an affectionate embrace. Sorry, my boobies are pretty small. Nothing to worry about. Why is it that being held by this tiny woman brings me such peace of mind? Still pressed to Makina's chest, I turn my eyes up to her face. She's smiling gently down at me, almost like a mother gazing at her infant child. But I can't answer that sweet smile. Along with a hint of awkward embarrassment, I'm filled with something like guilt. When those innocent, caring eyes find mine, dark and ugly feelings swell up in response. Don't pity me. Don't take me for a fool. What's with that look? You don't think you really understand me, do you? Don't try to accept me. You don't have the first damn idea what I am. The words rushed into my head like a deluge of black mud. A part of me suddenly wants to teach this girl a lesson, to make her break down and cry. This is no goddamn good at all. I'm always like this when I see bad dreams, warped to the point of that even kindness brings me pain. Suddenly miserable with self-pity and on the edge of tears, I hurriedly pull myself away from Makina. I'm sorry, Makina. What's wrong? Why are you always apologizing to me, Papa? This is all my fault. That's not true. That's not true at all. Do you hate me now? No, I love you, Makina, and that won't ever change. But because I love you, there are things I can't help worrying about. Like what? I can't explain it well, but I'm not the sort of person who belongs in a normal school, who deserves a normal life. My hands are just too dirty. You have no idea what ugly things I have done. You can't even begin to understand. I can't just have happiness fall in my lap. I don't deserve it. I forgive you. What? Like I said, I forgive you. You have my absolution. Don't worry about it. What the hell are you saying, kid? I don't know what happened in your past, Papa, but you must have done something wrong, right? Something so bad nobody could forgive you. So, I'll take care of that for you. Even if nobody else in the whole freaking world can forgive you, I will. You're not making it the slightest bit of sense, you know. It's a lot more nonsensical to be worrying about something stupid, unforgivable sin. There's a girl with her legs wide open before your eyes saying she'll forgive you, so just roll with it. You really are talking complete nonsense. Nonsense is hella fine by me. What's logic done for us lately anyway? You're my papa now, so I'm not gonna let you spend your life looking for a way to die. Firmly resettling my head against her breast, Makina gently strokes my hair. Honestly, this girl really throws me off my game. Please be strong and live with your head held high. It's okay, I'll always be here for you. I promise. Thank you, Makina. I'm no longer even capable of bluffing, pretending that I'm the one protecting Makina. All I can do now is cling to a younger girl like a child hoping for his mother's forgiveness. I can't even keep myself from breaking down into tears. As I listen to the steady sound of Makina's heartbeat, I can feel the lingering pain in my head quickly receding. Some part of me believed I was cursed, that if I talked to someone they'd be dragged down into hell with me, but now it feels like that heavy spell's been broken. All because of the small words coming from the small mouth of this small woman. I'm grateful to her from the very bottom of my heart. Just as the sparrows begin to chirp outside, the rusty old air conditioner in our window seems to remember its purpose, shaking the curtains as it belches to life. The bright, clear morning sun slips through the gap and streams into our room. My head doesn't hurt anymore. By the time the sun's risen cleanly above the horizon, my body's starting to wake up. Makina trots over to the corner, unplugs a small fridge from the outlet, then connects the cord for her bread-making machine in its place. I was just lying in bed spacing out, but watching the girl grinding her plug into the outlet while yelling, "Bobo!" I can't help breaking into laughter again. And deciding it's about time I get to work myself, I push my languid body off of the ground. Okay, bingo bango bredo! Alrighty then, thanks for your patience, we got up some baked goods!
Nice, bring it here. What did you make for us today?
Today's special treat for my favorite curry fanatic. I baked some curry bread!
Looks tasty.
So, what about you, Papa? What you been working on over there?
Knitting socks for our baby.
Oh, do you usually make socks out of manure you bought at the hardware store?
That's right. It's a new synthetic fabric made from the nitrogenous fertilizer.
So that's a lie, right?
Yep, it's a lie. Bring me those 2 plastic containers lying over there, will you?
Sure, but what are you doing with them?
I'm filling them up with an iron powder mixture, then adding saline solution.
What kind of socks are those gonna be?
The socks things was a joke. In any case, let's eat once I'm finished with these.
Yeah, gotcha.
The two of us don't have much in the way of cash on hand right now. Paying in advance for 10 days in this room didn't help. And we can't just start withdrawing cash or swiping credit cards, of course. There's no easier way to track a fugitive than through the movements of their money. I did have a little bit of slush fund stashed away for a rainy day that the company doesn't know about, but I left that money with a third party connected to Asuko, who's helped me out several times in the past. There's a chance that information might have leaked to Ichigaya through JB, so I can't just wander over carelessly and knock on the front door. With my company as an enemy, it's proving frustratingly difficult to get my hands on cash. To be brutally honest, we're a pair of children up against a large organization run by deadly serious adults. I doubt our playground tricks will keep them off our trail for long. No matter how hard we run, 1 week would probably be an optimistic estimate. If the cards fall wrong, we might end up being taken into custody today. In the cold light of day, I can't help feeling that it would have been wiser to cool down and talk things over with JP at length, instead of thrashing around emotionally like this. But a straightforward negotiation strategy wasn't really an option. If the idiots who clan was feeling comfortable enough to indulgently hear out a child like me, they wouldn't have turned to an extreme measure like assassination in the first place. For the moment, I simply have no choice but to smack aside our pursuers one after another. I've got a feeling today's going to be one hell of a long day. And we'll see what happens at Ichigaya in the next episode. Ooh, sounds intense. So, until then, take care.